The biggest myth that current entrepreneurs believe that having thousands of followers will automatically bring you business. That's not the case. I've seen a lot of creators having 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 followers on Instagram and YouTube, and they assume that money will start coming in automatically. But one of the entrepreneur like Parul Gulati, who's the founder of Nishare, she has around more than 1.5 million followers, and she has a system in place, and she has converted a model into a business. And so my advice would be, don't chase just the followers, chase a system, chase conversion path, and bring actual value that your audience can give it to you. But then I hit a ceiling, and the ceiling was I was completely busy throughout the day, but I was not being productive. So then I asked a question: what if I focus only on what moves the business forward? And when I started thinking on those kind of things, then I mapped out the repeatable tasks, the delegation which I can do, and also I trusted my team, my own team, to fulfill their roles. So that trust is very, very important. Build a ecosystem. I would also mention Gary Vee as one of the person who I was influenced from, and he was creating massive content and so influential and so encouraging, but he had a system also in place. So not all creators are founders, but yes, they can be founders. That is where right now AI disruption, when it is happening, it's almost replacing one employee is to 10 employee ratio. But it is actually not replacing. If you are talking about that, it is asking the other 9 to upskill themselves. A company of 100 people right now in 2025 can come down to, let's say, 30 people using those AI tools, but it will again have to expand to 50 or 60 people. But the skill set of those other 30 people needs to be the people who are working on those AI tools, managing those AI tools, managing the LLMs of internal employees, building new chatbots, building new customer agents, and so on.
Hello, guys, and welcome to yet another episode of Indian Business Times podcast. And this is a very special episode for us. I'll tell you why. Usually, we've had our guests coming in at our studio, and we've always had in person podcasts. But some great minds definitely are not in our vicinity. So, to break that geographical barrier, we've started online podcasts. And what better way it could have been that we have our very first guest for the online podcast. He's Amit Sharma. He's the founder of TechnocratIQ Digital, and he's been in the marketing and business space for over 14 years, working across different business sectors and countries like the US, Middle East, and Southeast Asia. Let's welcome Amit Sharma.
Thanks, Akshay. Thank you so much.
How have you been, Amit?
All good. How about you?
Very well, very well. I'm pretty excited for this podcast today.
Same here.
So, guys, the theme of our podcast today would be from followers to building strong foundations. We'll be talking a lot about AI, creators, young entrepreneurs, and building sustainable business models, more from the angle of building an agency, a sustainable model for building credible agencies, profitable agencies. So, that is what we are going to talk about today with Amit. And Amit, let's start with our first question. So, what do you think is the biggest myth young entrepreneurs believe about having thousands of followers online?
Oh, yes. So it's a pleasure to be here and happy to interact with the audience. I believe the biggest myth that current entrepreneurs believe that having thousands of followers will automatically bring you business. That's not the case. I've seen a lot of creators having 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 followers on Instagram and YouTube, and they assume that money will start coming in automatically. But
Mhm.
the followers are actually not the customers right from the go. It's good to have followers, but it's also very, very important to have a system in place, and because that system will help you earn money. So for an example, I had a client who was having around 50,000 followers, and when I asked what her monthly revenue was and what would she require for marketing, so she said that brands send me free products, and I get the deals. But that is actually not a business. That's a hobby with having perks, and there is no client pipeline, there is no offer, there is no backend delivery system. So it looks shiny on the outside, but it has no foundation on the inside. So on the flip side, a lot of business owners, they don't have the visibility, but they have a silent system in place. I can assure you, having thousands, or having your audience as your followers, if you have a system, will help you a lot. For example, we can talk about various different entrepreneurs, but one of the entrepreneur like Parul Gulati, who is the founder of Nishare, she has
Yeah.
around more than 1.5 million followers, and she has a system in place, and she has converted a model into a business. And so my advice would be, don't chase just the followers, chase a system, chase conversion path, and bring actual value that your audience can give it to you.
Right. So, since you've talked about Parul Gulati, and she's the founder of Nishare, and
Yeah.
having said that, she has like more than 1.5 million followers. So, what do you think that is it applicable for all the young entrepreneurs that they should be having such a strong brand presence that despite running a business they're also successful as creators online, and because they are successful as creators online, which is why their business is functioning totally well, they are getting brand deals, they are doing
All right.
all kinds of visibility. So what do you think, does it work for each and every founder?
So correct. So this is a coin with has two sides. So if you are a business owner and you don't have visibility, but you have a system in place, so nobody knows about you. But if you are a creator and you have visibility but no business system, you know that does not bring you value, as I said. So you should know, what is the best. Just don't chase after one thing. You should know how many followers you need, and how much is your system supporting your current followers. So that is, and followers are not just the numbers that are there, but the authentic users who comment, like, share whatever you are creating or whatever services you are doing. They become brand advocates. So brand is just not by having number of followers. So brand is also delivering the quality of services or products.
Right, right. Okay. So, see, being an agency founder yourself,
Right.
so since we've talked about building, strong foundations at the back end, and all these things might look glamorous outside that, somebody has a lot of followers, but if the foundation is not at the back end is not very supportive, then you can't pretty much commercialize or utilize,
Right.
a lot of followers or monetize that properly. So, being an agency founder, what do you think were the three core systems at least that you built in your business in the first year, or whatever every business agency founder
Right.
should at least build?
So I would categorize it as a service-based business, and then I would, give you the three core systems that every service-based business should have, because products have a different cycle, and there are many other logistical and components working around. So for a service business, in my experience, what I believe is, in the first year itself, for all the new young entrepreneurs, there should be three things. One of them is a lead qualification system, and it should be partially automated, where you are not wasting your time on multiple leads which are not of any use. And see, I have created different landing pages which are going connected to an email marketing campaign, which are going to a lead capture mechanism, so that once the leads are captured, there is a qualification system in place. Secondly, for any kind of lead which has been qualified, there should be a client onboarding and delivery mechanism, because every client has a different requirement, but the onboarding mechanism and delivery mechanism can be the same. For example, kickoff calls, which are there, the setting up of access mechanism, a checklist of onboarding, all these help you eliminate the overheads, and also it gives confidence to your client that yes, this company knows what they are going to do from the starting itself. Third, and the most important thing which a lot of companies don't have, is cash flow tracking. So when I started, right in the first year, I created a simple Excel. It does not need to be a complex software or anything which goes beyond a simple Excel. In that, you calculate your income, you track your expenses, the profits which are going to be there monthly, and also you can add future projections that this is the cost which is going to be there. So yes, these three things: lead qualification system, client onboarding and delivery, and cash flow tracking is important. While yes, we have to create marketing systems, but we should not forget these three backend systems which are there.
Right. So, in your career, when did you realize that having these systems are very important? Did you have any sort of a setback, or did you feel any shortcoming before you implemented these systems? Or how did it occur to you that these systems have to be very important?
Right. So my biggest mindset shift when it was there, I was realizing that I'm doing a lot of work. I am handling multiple clients, and my value was not into doing everything, but it was designing how everything is to be done. And
Mhm.
I wore every hat, from be it from sales, from admin tasks, delivery, even to fixing website bugs as well. I did everything. But then I hit a ceiling. And the ceiling was I was completely busy throughout the day, but I was not being productive. So then I asked a question: what if I focus only on what moves the business forward? And when I started thinking on those kind of things, then I mapped out the repeatable tasks, the delegation which I can do, and also I trusted my own team to fulfill their roles. So that trust is very, very important. So I moved from an kind of an operator role to an orchestrator, which is who knows how to what will going to be happen in the future. And I started growing rather than just grinding, like everybody says that you need to grind and do that. So that it was the mindset shift in leading everything strategically.
Right, right. So I also wanted to know that when an agency founder thinks of growing, and he already knows that he has had a very humble start, right? Maybe two people, three people only. So when do you think is the right time to scale being an agency founder? I mean, having more
So
employees or having more clients, how does it work? You hire employees first, then get clients, or you get clients first, then hire employees and scale. It's a chicken and
so
egg kind of a
I
thing.
chicken and egg kind of a thing. I would I would take my example where I started as a, which in today's world is called a freelancer. So I started as a solo person, and I was on a US based contract. I was having good amount of money coming in. But as soon as I got two other projects, right, and starting from one person to handling two other projects, I just imagined myself that consistent work will be coming out of me for me, and which I need to deliver. So when you get that consistent work and when you get the repeat clients, that would be the trigger point of moving from freelancer to start operating like a CEO. Obviously, CEO builds more systems,
Mhm.
and they actually delegate their own role and their own actions to their team, and they maintain transparency. Instead of juggling everything, they document the process, they deliver on the service packages, they build an SOP. So that is where you start building a system also in place, and you know that clients are going to come on a regular basis. But for that, you need to stop thinking as a freelancer. You need to
Right,
stop working as a side projects, and you need to start building a company.
right. So you told that you've been a freelancer at first, and then you started thinking like a CEO. You had a mindset
Right.
shift, and you became an agency founder. How is it applicable for creators? So like Ranveer Alapadia, he has been a
Good.
creator himself,
Right.
but I think he also runs Monk Entertainment at the back end. It's a talent
Right.
management agency. But he also, early stage creator, then got pretty famous, then started his agency. Same goes for Raj Shamani as well. He also has his back end agency in place. So, how do you think creators, a lot of creators, because not all creators are becoming founders, should they be becoming
Correct.
founders? How should it go for creators?
So Obviously you mentioned really great people who are a very good example for this, who were creators and also have built a ecosystem. I would also mention Gary Vee as one of the person who I was influenced from, and he was creating massive content and so influential and so encouraging. But he had a system also in place. So not all creators are founders, but yes, they can be founders. That is where their system, their product value, their service line comes into picture. And creators actually fall in a particular trap of called visibility rather than viability. So what is visibility and what is viability is basically visibility is something which is like a dopamine from likes and shares and comments and views. And it feels like, these creators are progressing. But if you post a reel, you get 50,000 views and you think I'm growing, but you never stop and ask, is it leading to a sale? Is it a client? Is it going to be a business opportunity? Can I scale into that? And viability, right, on the other hand, is very boring.
It's
Building
very
that, it's boring, and it's called a system, sales calls, refining the offers, and setting up automations, and so on and so forth. And you don't get applause for that. If you have a system in place, if the business is viable, nobody will come and like your post and this is going to give you 50,000 views, but it will get you money, it will get you more clients, it will get you
true.
more business. And that is where creators can choose visibility and viability both with a balance. And visibility is public and viability is very a private affair, which a lot of all these content creators who people who don't know have built a visible and a viable system.
Right. So, do you think every creator can start a viable business or not?
So every creator depends on the content they are creating, and a lot of creators, I respect them for the content they are creating. But if that content creation is attached to a service line, a system, like even if we talk about the current ones, and we see that yes, creators have the potential because they have the audience, they have the people who can buy from them, they can endorse brands, and the brands can use these creators. So yes, if you ask me, even if they don't have a product or a service of their own, they can use products and services of other brands and build a system. But it should not be a random thing. Okay, I'm getting a free gift from somebody, and that is why I'm just showcasing that to him.
Right, 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 right. So, you're an agency founder. I myself also am. I'm an agency founder, right?
Right.
We've both had clients chasing views, and
Yeah.
uh, and there are definitely other agencies who also tell the clients that we'll get you these many views, and because the client wants to listen to that, no?
Correct.
How do you explain the client that since we talked about views and that gives a dopamine, definitely that's a dopamine for the client as well.
Correct.
How do we overcome such scenarios where the client is after views, but on the other hand, the agency knows the real stuff, and how do we explain that?
Right. So since you are also an agency founder and you know how important it is for people chasing the vanity metrics, but what we do, I run a different target audience and a segment. I run a B2B firm which is marketing and promoting other businesses, and the industries where I am targeting, be it financial, be it healthcare, be it law firms, be it other areas where businesses are transacting with businesses. Over there, we tell them, we educate them that to drive real business growth, visibility should be there. But those are just the visibility is a vanity metric. So what we do is we apply a TIQ principle: think, innovate, and quantify. So my company is named Technocratic. TIQ Digital is the short form. So think, innovate, and quantify actually leads them in terms of transparency, where I have a clear and honest conversation with the agent, with the clients, and I tell them, okay, would you rather have 10,000 views or 10 clients? If I ask them one question, they they say yes, we would like to have 5,000 views and 5 clients or something, a balance in between. But we are being transparent. Secondly, I also tell them that all these parameters, which be it visibility, be it likes, comments, shares, these are all connected to some measurable growth. Apart from vanity metrics, there are other growth aspects like leads, signups, retention, CSE, CLTV. all these parameters are measuring the actual ROS of the particular campaign. And these ROS combined with the cost is converted into ROI. So think, innovate, and quantify will actually give them from popularity to profitability. And that is where we have to educate our clients as well. Yes, some kind of popularity is there, but yes, profitability metrics are equally important, and those also work in the system silently.
Right. Right. So for early stage founders, since you just talked about CLV and the lifetime value of the customer, so I have a specific question about that. For early stage
Right.
founders, how do we explain the difference between customer acquisition cost and a customer lifetime value? How can we explain that?
Right. So CAC and CLTV, I would like to explain it with an example as well. Obviously, everybody knows the definition. For those who don't know, customer acquisition cost is what you spend to get one customer. It includes the ad sales, calls, marketing tools, plus resource cost, everything. And customer lifetime value is actually the total revenue that customer is bringing in to your business. It can be one time, it can be a recurring, and it can be you know a repeat business. So example, if it costs you 2000 rupees to acquire a customer, 2000 is your CAC. And when the customer starts paying you as 1000 rupees per month for 6 months, let's say, then the CLTV becomes 6,000. So you're spending 2,000 and getting 6,000. So that is a good solid business. But if your CLTV is more than your CAC, then it's actually time to introspect and look at the system that you have built. Because if CLTV is lower than CAC, you are burning money on marketing, and you might be raising funds, you might be getting there, but it's not about how cheap your leads are. It's about how much the value they bring over time. So that's the difference between CAC and CLTV, and that is how they should be uh, considered.
Right. Right. So I've heard a lot of entrepreneurs who are seasoned now and have been running their businesses for more than 10 years, successful founders, they've suddenly started talking about influencer marketing weakening. I mean, why is it? I mean, people have been using influencers a lot. I know so many brands. But then, like you said, that, there have been introspections and you have to introspect. So, why are a lot of founders saying that now influencer marketing might not be as
Effective.
result driven as earlier it was?
So there was a recent study about mega influencers. So influencers are all, not everyone is at the same level. And there was a study which I also read, and probably everybody saw, that mega influencers are not giving the ROI in terms of what was expected and what they were giving a few years ago. So the rise of micro influencers over here. Micro influencers are niche specific influencers which only might have a 10,000 followers, but all those 10,000 followers are for the content which they are creating. And I would give you an example of the content of a vegan brand. Let's say if the influencer is related to health and fitness, and if they are promoting a vegan brand, then those micro influencers definitely work. But if you are spending multi crores of rupees, then on mega influencers, that ROS is actually very difficult, and it is declining on a bit. But definitely, there are brands and companies who actually need those micro influencers to be the face. So there is a balance between mega and micro, which you have to identify to for the influencer marketing to work. So there is a influencer ROI calculator as well. How many influencers are there, and what is their reach, what is their interaction rate, what is the sharing rate, which niche, which category they are from. And one of the calculators we have also prepared for influencer marketing, calculation of ROI, and that is available on our mobile app, and people can calculate that. Those metrics will actually give them the numbers. If not, then you can actually calculate what is the ROI. It might be declining in a few areas, but it's not that if I hire, let's say, one person, Virat Kohli, and my brand will be the India's biggest brand. So that's not the case anymore, because it is good to have brand names associated with celebrities. But yes, micro influencers are very effective, and mega influencers, only the mega influencers trend needs to be checked.
Okay, so let's also start talking about AI influencers now. So now there are
Oh,
micro influencers which are humans, mega influencers that are humans. But now a new term is in the market, which is AI influencers. I've seen many pages. One of the pages being run by ourselves. We have an AI influencer.
right.
I won't like to reveal her name as of now, but let's talk about how AI influencers are going to, will they go ahead from the real influencers, or how is it going to be, the tussle between both of them, real and AI?
So, TikTok is banned in India, but you might have heard about the updates that TikTok is asking, you know, creating AI avatars, creating AI profiles, and people can use those AI avatars to promote their product. In fact, a lot of companies in India will also follow this suit. And on Instagram, or let's say an example of YouTube, if you open YouTube right now, on the homepage, if you scroll in the first 50 videos, you will see 15 AI generated videos currently. And that is how AI influencers are capturing the market, because the cost is low and the cost of production is low, and you can generate the type of content whatever you want through those AI influencers, and each AI influencers can be customized according to the categories. So there is going to be a tussle, but on the flip side, we know and we can differentiate between AI influencers. So the buying decision, when we are talking about the buying, it might be a good view. It might be a good vanity metrics to hire a AI influencer, but people still trust somewhere on, let's say, you and me are recommending something, then that is where people trust and
Yeah.
still believe. Let's say Gen Alpha, they would definitely be working towards the AI influencer and listening to them.
How should founders think about building automation in their systems without compromising personal touch?
That's a very, very important thing, because right now, just we were talking about, AI influencers, and the link between AI influencers and automation is there. So, just to ask you a question back, you might be visiting various websites and you have that chat description where bots are there, or you might get automated calls on your phone, and you might be answering, "Hello, this is it." How many times have you listened to them, or at least how many times you have asked that chatbot to, "I want to talk to a real agent," out of 10?
Whenever I have any issue, let's suppose I visit a website where usually all other websites of my clients are hosted, right? Wouldn't name it again, but whenever there's a query and there's a chatbot responding, they have the same answers. You know,
Right.
they're fed a particular stuff, which is just understanding keywords. They're responding to it, but
Right.
out of 10 times, at least 9 times I have said, "Please get me a real human." I
Right.
have.
So
I
in the
don't listen
market,
to AI calls at all. I
correct.
The
So
moment I hear "Hello, sir, I am this," and the voice is automated, the
right, you cut the phone.
call is disconnected.
So, yeah. So at least 70% of people who are being connected to these automations, and the 30% are obviously if the chatbot is giving you the actual article and resolving your problem. But almost 70% they want to talk to a human. So
Yeah.
coming back to the question, building an automation without compromising personal touch is, where you have to use automation as an enhancement rather not replace the personal touch. And you know what automations can be used for is for building out the repetitive task, where email scheduling, setting up meetings, these are the things which are saving you time. Please ensure that key interactions like strategy discussions and monthly reporting, or any kind of support where a person needs actual help, that remains personal. What you can do is also on the automation side, we know that the landing pages are also now personalized, and they can give personalized content. So after that personalized content is delivered on the landing pages and the websites, there should be a breakout mechanism. Like, yes, this is the point, I have understood this much, and from here I want to talk to a real person, which the AI calling bots are actually now doing, and where these chatbots are also currently diverting. There is a fork between talking to and bot, and then moving on to the real person. So, for example, I would say I have automated all the reports of all my clients, and every week and every month they get those reports. But I ensure every month I come to them with the call on the call and I explain it to them, because just sending that email and report where they can see the numbers, that is enough for me to hit my mark and hit the target, that yes, this is what we are doing. But we make sure that we come on a call, we explain it to them, this is the trend which is happening, these are the numbers which are going up and down, and this is what we are going to do. So that is where the balance is, and that is how you should think about building the automations without compromising the personal touch.
Right. So I have a related question to that. How do you draw the line between what to automate, delegate, and keep doing yourself?
So to automate the processes which are there, again it comes back to the same thing, where the repeat task, the manual tasks which are there, which are repeating, which are taking up your time, checking the time sheets and all those things, those are clear cut automation. Those you don't have to even think about automating that. Secondly, where to delegate, that you have built a SOP, or that you have built a system, that it works in a particular way. You have to ensure with your team that that task or that structure or that flow is followed by a human and it is given to the team. So that is where you have to delegate. And whatever you are good at, you have to do it on your own. For example, the mantra of this is automate the routine, delegate the rest, and focus on the energy what only you can.
I think which could be meeting a lot of new people, strategizing how to grow the business. I think that these
Correct.
are the things that only the founder's vision can do.
Right. So also doing on your thing is very high impact activity. If you talk about the strategic initiatives, and if you talk about decision making, if you talk about client relationship, or if you talk about us having this podcast, those are the things that you have to do to move your business forward. But we cannot automate this. If we automate it, nobody would listen to us.
Right? Definitely. Exactly. Right. Instead of us humans talking, let's suppose we had our AI avatars talking right now.
Right. No, we are real. Right.
Okay. So automation is a challenge for a lot of businesses. It could be because maybe the founder is not thinking on those terms as of now. But this could be one of the reasons why today a lot of digital marketing companies fail before even they hit 3 years. What do you think?
Right.
Why do they fail before they hit 3 years?
So when I started the company, me and my co-founder, we were given a challenge, that 1,000-day challenge, which is very famous in a startup world. That if your company survives the 1,000-day challenge, and if it can grow and continue, then you might have a system in place which is working. So these 2-3 years where mostly 90% of the companies are failing, either they want to scale up very fast, or actually they're not solving a problem. So if you are having a key USP, in the first year you have to realize how the business should work, how what is the business is, and what all things are there. In the second year you might have to pivot, you might have to change the model, you might have to see what your audience is requiring anymore. If you keep on investing in only one part, then it becomes a challenge. So, and also the biggest reason for a failure of the 1,000-day challenge was poor cash management by the company, which we can see if the founders are having, let's say, 1 year, 2 year revenue, and they're not able to manage that cash properly. Too much investment into automating everything might be a kickback, because the quality decreases, and we've recently seen a case study about that. And many agencies, they try to over promise and under deliver in their first 3 years so that they just can get any client on the board and just any kind of revenue to sustain. So that is also killing your own business. So these are a few factors which young age on marketing agencies founders, they actually need to survive that 1,000-day challenge, making the company profitable and also building the system and adapting to the challenges which are there.
Right. So one more thing I personally would want to highlight is that so whenever anyone is starting an agency business, it's definitely easy to start because it does not require a lot of investment. But no, a lot of new entrepreneurs in the agency side, they start promising, like you said, they overpromise,
Right.
charge very less. While it's good for the client that an agency is charging very less, but at the same time, the agency is charging less because it maybe does not know the worth of them, and while they're charging less, they definitely won't be able to give better results to the client because
Right.
it's not just about making a few videos, a few posts, right? It's about sitting with your team, strategizing, building an entire campaign. All that comes at a cost, definitely. And
Definitely, cost and value, delivering value to the client is very important. If you overpromise, underdeliver, then the client knows, okay, the value is not being given by that company, X company, and they go to buy company, they want better value, but they say, okay, the rate of the X was so much. So why are you not giving it in that? So if the client also want value, they'll have to pay. And that is where, you understand that what the market is, how to react to certain standards, and what are the value driven factors.
absolutely right. So, related question again: how can someone build an agency that's client retention driven rather than client chasing?
Yeah, it's a very good question and a very connected question, because everybody says that okay, we'll go get 10 clients or 15 clients or 20 clients, and next month they again have to go and get 10 clients.
Hmm.
Right. So that means the clients that you are having, they are not growing, they are not increasing their ticket size, they are not being upsell. So to build that framework of client retention rather than client chasing, you have to follow certain frameworks which are there. And one of the models which we follow in TIQ is the RACE framework, RACE framework. And
Mhm.
RACE framework is actually building a long-term relationship rather than just client acquisition. So R stands for reach, A stands for act, C for convert, and E for engage. Reach, act, convert, and engage. So when you are actually reaching out through various omni-channel methods which are there, you can show them your value. You can act with them by understanding their needs and providing your solutions, how your solutions are helping them out. So they will convert, which will bring you to the third point. Even once they are converted from a transactional relationship to a partnership, you have to give them, provide them value.
Mhm.
Once you are doing that in the conversion part, you have to engage. E is actually fostering long term partnerships and loyalty, that yes, we are there, we will help you grow. If you grow, we will also grow. And our selling and upselling and the ticket size, everything increases if we keep on engaging with those clients. So that race framework helps you from client chasing to a client retention model.
Right. So, what signs do you think young founders should realize, that they're
Uh-huh.
headed towards a burnout?
Burnout is, there are different levels, and for every individual, each of them have a separate grit, a level of grit which they put into their business, and respect. All of them should be respected. But I know when we start a business, we are very passionate. We will do X, Y, Z things, and while sleeping at night, you don't, have a proper sleep. You need to understand that okay, I will do this. Let me do this also, and then I will sleep. So there are certain signs, clear-cut signs on the physical aspect, which will suggest that you are moving towards a burnout. Is even when you wake up in the morning and you're not fresh, and that's constant fatigue, and you feel drained, and you still feel that okay, that work was not done.
Hmm.
Second is obviously detachment, where you are reacting on every possible person. Okay, why is this not done? Why is this there? and you're being very impatient. So those are two signs where you are actually, you can understand how your mind is working, because you are burning yourself out, but other people are not doing the same. Finally, what happens, it leads to the loss of passion. Okay, if my team is not helping me out, why am I even doing this? So that is also again because you are doing too much and you're not trying to understand why the system that you have built is not working, or why your agency or your processes are not working. uh, so don't neglect self-care. And finally, I would say that don't just be busy, be productive. It should add value to the client and to your business, internally and externally both. So burnout signs are pretty evident. So disconnect, delegate, and decompress. So if you are burnt out, you need to disconnect for a bit. You need to see, okay, what is draining you, and you need to delegate that to somebody who can do it for you, or you need to figure out a process that this can be done, and then decompress it back. So decompress before you crash. Otherwise, the burnout affects a lot of companies, a lot of individual founders, solopreneurs, and even at a higher level as well. So, taking the action against burning out is not considered as weakness. You can optimally work in 7 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever you feel, but these particular signs are there for you.
Right, right. So I was about to ask you, the three things that every founder should be following to have a successful agency. But more or less, you've answered this in the previous question.
Right,
But if you still
right.
think that, there could be some more inputs on, those three things, what those founders should focus on to build, to crack a, successful agency business model.
So as I mentioned earlier, I talked about the backend activities, which is lead generation, quality lead extraction, and then building a process where you were able to deliver and client onboarding and flow, and then cash flow tracking. These are the backend activities. I would just like to add that a very robust and efficient marketing and technology stack is required on the front end as well. So the three things which were there already spoken on the backend side. The two things which we can add to them are a robust marketing system that is not what everybody is following, but which is for your business, and a technology stack in today's AI world, which helps you in doing your activities and things in a most efficient way.
I think we could add one more thing to this, which is also one of the very most important things that founders should know, which is know your niche.
Right,
A lot of founders do everything. They
right.
would work for any possible sector. But I think it's very important to fix certain sectors or you know a niche that you can best work upon.
So Akshay, that was a very valid point, because when we started, we built a marketing agency. So every marketing agency person thinks that he can do marketing, because by posting social media, on running Google ads, on Facebook ads, they will get leads and every business is their customer. But that is actually not true, because we, in the first 1,000 day challenge that we discussed, we served many people and we could provide value for certain industries. That is where we identified the niche of our system. We
True.
also build a separate system for B2C. We also build a separate system for B2B. And each B2B system has a separate industry specific flow. And that is where B2C is different from B2B marketing. And each system, each flow of that is very very important for people to understand that yes, okay, marketing agency can do everything but should not do everything,
Should not
because
do it.
they might fail while doing everything.
Right, right. So, one personal question that I wanted to ask:
Mhm.
how do you see having a lot of employees versus having less employees and having a lot of quality clients, or having a lot of clients and a lot of employees? What should be the right balance?
So having a lot of clients and a lot of employees was the business model or the technology advancement when we moved towards digitization and industrial everything changed. So when we moved towards digitization, we had more number of people, especially in India. The more number of people, the more number of strength you are having, the more number of clients you will be getting. So that was a model which was working earlier. Right now, AI disruption, when it is happening, it's almost replacing one employee is to 10 employee ratio. But it is actually not replacing, if you are talking about that. It is asking the other nine to upskill themselves and work on the AI tools. And the companies want to be productive. We see globally companies are implementing the not only implementing right now, they are experimenting. Once this comes into the picture, like let's say 3 years down the line, then we will see each company having their own LLMs. They have their own agents, internal agents working on various jobs. But that would bring another aspect of job is managing these AIs,
Yeah.
stopping these misinformation or checking the quality of work. So those kind of jobs of data science or AI management will come up, and you will have to understand that a company of 100 people right now in 2025 can come down to, let's say, 30 people using those AI tools, but it will again have to expand to 50 or 60 people. But the skill set of those other 30 people needs to be the people who are working on those AI tools, managing those AI tools, managing the LLMs of internal employees, building new chatbots, building new customer agents, and so on. So there is going to be displacement for sure. But on the flip side, there is also, there's going to be a trajectory back up where these people would be coming back up. So to answer your question conclusively is there is currently a shift happening in the industries, in all the industries across, doctors, lawyers, healthcare professionals, e-commerce, multi-agents, marketing, IT companies, software developers, all of them are facing a lot of issues. But they need to upskill, and that is the gap where they need to come up with so they can be relevant.
Right. So I saw a very astonishing post in the morning. It was of Zoho founder Sridhar Vembu. He had
Yes.
written, I think, on his Facebook or LinkedIn. So he had said that software developers in India should not be just think that their jobs can't be gone, and usually they get higher salaries than mechanical engineers or other sort of engineers. Software
Mhm.
developers have always gotten more salaries. But Sridhar Vembu has simply warned, and he himself runs an IT company. They're a software firm
Correct.
themselves. But then again, he has said that the way AI is evolving, there could be a lot of job cuts for
So
software developers.
nobody can be complacent right now. They should not feel that okay, nobody can replace me, or this is what I think I do and nobody else can do. Because in Sridhar Vembu is the leading entrepreneur who has not even raised a single capital and built everything on his
Yeah,
own.
yeah.
And it's a massive industry. I've been a Zoho customer since more than 10 years now. So I know what he's talking about, and that is where we can see that the things which are coming into the picture right now, even for marketing agencies, even for entrepreneurs, the company's model, if it is not efficient, it's not solving a value, if it does not have a system in place, and also along with 100% automation is probably not on the charts because you need the personal touch as we spoke about before. So that is where the balance needs to come. You are solving a problem, you are using automation, you have people who are working according to a system, and you are delivering at the end of the day value to the customer.
Okay. I think a lot of serious business talks we've had. I would like to ask
Right.
a question on a lighter note as
Mhm.
we approach towards the end of this podcast. So, if you had to start from scratch at 22 again, what's the first thing you would focus on to build a business that does not need you every day?
Oh, wow. Nice. This is, if I can do that, definitely, I would actually focus on, the first point that we were discussing is to build a system before building a hustle. And I would actually want to pick up pick a problem right now to solve, which actually is a problem. And it is not just a trend where we are getting views, likes, and comments, and we are building videos through AI so that on YouTube we can get more views. That is also a business model, but if you go 10 years down the line, can you have those people and explore into working that? So it's not, I will not obsess over, you know, running around trends, but I would obsess over what the customer wants and what is the value which I can give. At 22, I might, then I might not have, this kind of understanding, but to the 22-year founders now, I would recommend you to pick a problem to solve first. Don't chat GPT the best business top 10 earning businesses of in 2025, because that does not work. Those models are there. Secondly, what important thing I feel after 14 years of experience is I would rather document everything, every process, every thought which I had earlier, even if it was the thing which I do. I'm taking an Excel and creating another Excel and creating a tracker. I would actually love to document that tracker, and that development of tracker becomes the foundation of somebody who is onboarding a client later on and who's delivering value. At 22, I feel that those kind of things can come from experience. You don't. I didn't even knew how to build that tracker at that point of time, but now tools are available, ChatGPT is available, they can help you. AI is there. Finally, after the tracker, I would probably invest in automation of those trackers, and following the email to the CRM, because losing a lead, not following up with a lead, not following up with a client, not giving them a proposal on time, all those aspects at 22, they give you an uneven drawback. So if you're able to give or deliver on those points, so in your customer journey, those are critical points, and those can be automated very easily. Just like I mentioned, my monthly emails are going. I have an onboarding kit, I have a checklist, all these items are there for the particular scope. uh, Finally, just to add where we started as TVF, totally viral fever, when we were seeing that two people sitting in the bar and having a beer and talking about to beer up high related flow. So I would say yes, you can find you can set up a company where your friends are there, but don't depend on them. Hire professionals, hire contractors, hire the people who know what they are doing, rather than making it a college group project where you
Sure.
have made it a report. You have to make a presentation on the subject of entrepreneurship, and based on that report you got a grade A. But and the four people who you were studying with, if they are professional, if they know how to do it, then form a team with them. Otherwise, if your idea is worth it, then hire people, invest in that idea. And the last thing is, all businesses, what I recommend to everyone, if I was that at that stage, I would focus on all the businesses or all the clients which have recurring revenue, rather than picking up one time projects. Because when you start growing, when your client starts growing, then you start to grow. So at the end of the day, the mantra can be build the machine and not just the muscle. So that is that.
So, thank you, Amit. It was an honor to have you on our podcast.
Thank you
You,
so much, Akshay, for inviting me.
yeah, pleasure is all
My
mine.
pleasure.
Right. So, guys, here's Mr. Amit Sharma, founder of Technocratic Digital. And I hope you guys like this podcast. And you may take away a lot of things if you're a creator or an agency business founder. And if you want us to do more such online podcasts and offline as well, if you're willing to come to our studio, then do not forget to subscribe, like, and share this podcast. See you guys.